Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where in today's episode, we're going to be continuing the deep dive into Colin Trevorrow's Episode 9, Duel of the Fates. Today we're going to be going over Act 2 of his Episode 9 script in good detail. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee.
I have spoken.
Hello there to all of the returning subscribers, but if you're new to the channel and you're just finding me for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this video and any other video from the channel that you check out, and be sure to hit that notification bell so that the bell is completely filled in, as this is the way you will never miss a new video the second it goes live.
Do it!
So without further ado, we already did the discussion about it yesterday, so if you didn't go see Act 1, go check that out. I'll have a card up here and I'll link it in the description below. But without further ado, we're going to get right into Act 2. So please enjoy Act 2 of Colin Trevorrow's Star Wars Duel of the Fates. On Coruscant, Kylo tells Hux that he has to leave. He again shows his disdain for Hux, telling him that he has no need for grand displays or titles. When Hux asks if Kylo found the power from the Sith texts, he replies that it is within reach, and that the true ability to destroy a planet will be insignificant. His final instruction to Hux is, find the resistance, wipe them out, and leave the girl to me. Before leaving, Kylo Ren has one last conversation with Vader's mask, telling his grandfather he understands him now, his weakness and his pain. You are allowed to cloud your judgment, he says, before throwing the helmet from the balcony to shatter on the streets below. On Korolev, the heroes are ready to set off their respective missions. Before she leaves, Rey has one last conversation with Leia. Rey is lost. She doesn't know what her path is. She doesn't truly know who she is, but she still tells Leia that she thinks she can save Ben. Leia sadly tells her, I believed that once like you. There's good in all of us, but the boy I knew is gone. As Rey leaves, Leia offers her one more piece of wisdom. My whole life I've heard about balance. I don't even know what that means. You're not like my father or my brother. You're new. Whatever happens, Rey, remember the Force chose you. Your story isn't written by anyone else. From here, the story follows multiple threads, cutting between each as it builds towards the finale. Kylo Ren travels to Remdakor seeking out Tor Valum. Rey, along with Poe, Chewie, and BB-8, go in search for a seer who can help her discover her path. Finn, Rose, R2, and 3PO set off for Coruscant to light the Force beacon below the Jedi Temple, and Leia seeks out allies of her own. Kylo Ren arrives on Remdakor, a world Burnett describes as feeling similar to Exegol. As Kylo makes his way into a stone fortress, he is surrounded by death, the remains of a great battle from centuries past. A reminder that the whilst of the Jedi pass into the Force, the Sith do not. Inside the fortress, in a chamber filled with parts of broken starships, he meets Tor Valum, described as 7,000 years old, an ancient alien of unknown origin, spindly intense, and muscle pulled tight. Valum is not a Sith Lord, but some kind of teacher, an ancient being with arcane knowledge. When asked if he trained Darth Plagueis, Valum says that he knows nothing to him. You wish to obtain the power of those who came before. Take your place among the gods of Mortis. It's more than a statement than a question. When Kylo confirms that he does, Valum mocks him saying, You call yourself a Sith, but the Sith are unrepentant, remorseless. You are haunted by the past, your very existence. Kylo Ren claims he has no regrets, but Valum sees through the lie, telling him that until he can sever himself from the past, his fate will be no different than the dead warriors who littered the battlefield beyond the fortress. But he does agree to teach him. The living Force is nourishment. The more one consumes, the stronger one becomes. To take life is to cheat death. The ability he teaches Kylo is vampire-esque, the power to consume life, literally draining the life force from his opponents. Across the galaxy, the Resistance team has managed to bypass the First Order's blockade of Coruscant. As we saw before, it is not the world we remember, from the prequel or the last shot of Return of the Jedi. Now we go deeper underground, truly seeing those downtrodden and oppressed by the First Order. As they enter the lower levels, 3PO remarks, "I'm afraid all my knowledge of Coruscant is limited to the upper levels." R2 beeps in indignant response, prompting 3PO to reply, "Elitist? Where did you even learn that word?" Burnett says the script is full of great dialogue and moments for the droid duo. And for the Finn and Rose, with the Coruscant story using both of their histories as part of their journey in this film. As they come to tell the Jedi Temple, it's a shell of its former glory. Fallen to ruin, those forced to live as scavengers sleeping rough around oil drums, fires in the temple grounds. "This doesn't look like the Jedi Temple to me," 3PO remarks, a sad reminder of how things used to be. As people look at them over the fires, R2 beeps at his old friend. "What do you mean I stand out?" 3PO asks, another beep. "Gold is not ostentatious. Leave the vocabulary to me, you glorified mechanic." On Remnicor, Kylo is using beasts around the fortress to hone his new abilities, draining the life force from them. With each life taken, he wants more. Then he sees the cave and senses something. Valum tells him it is a vengeance in the Force. Putting on his mask, Kylo enters the cave. In a scene reminiscent of The Empire Strikes Back, he is confronted by a vision of Darth Vader. A brutal duel ensues, and Kylo loses. Angry and disoriented, he emerges from the cave. What little patience he had is spent. He demands Tor Valum tell him the way to Mortis. Mortis, according to Valum, is the way of the living force, the source of the galaxy's birth, and Kylo Ren is not yet worthy. Refusing to be denied, Kylo turns on him, using his own techniques against him and draining the life from him. At the same time these two arcs have been playing out, Rey has traveled to Bonadan. Here she finds a seer who is able to pull a star chart from her mind. It is from one of her visions of Kylo Ren, and Rey believes it shows her where she must go. Back to Korolev, the First Order have been able to track the stolen Star Destroyer to the Resistance base. Leia and the others are able to evacuate in time, making the stolen vessel the new headquarters of the Resistance. Under the Jedi Temple, the Resistance team succeeded in finding and activating the Force Beacon, igniting it via a giant kyber crystal underneath the beacon and allowing R2 to project a message from Leia across the galaxy. Burnett describes the scene as being written like the beacons of Gondor from The Lord of the Rings, as we see Leia's message go out across the way. Our voices will not be silenced. We can no longer live in the shadow of the First Order. We must step into the light. The message is cut short by the First Order, who are somehow able to stop the transmission, but it is heard. From the Bendu monks on Tatooine, Leia's message reaches across the stars. Even Bosk, the former bounty hunter, now seen living like a king, and Tamiri Blag, the broom boy from The Last Jedi, in the stables of Canto Bight hear the call. With the beacon down, Finn, Rose, and the droids flee into the Undercity. On Bonadan, the Knights of Ren have found Rey and Poe. There is a chase across the sea, with Rey, Chewie, and Poe sailing a razor sail as the Knights attack from the Knife 9 above. The chase culminates in an epic duel between Rey and the Knights of Ren. Rey has visions as she fights and kills the Knights. She has never seen them before in her visions. Even though they have never met, she knew who they were. After the conflict, she is upset, shaken by what she has done. "I had no choice," she tells Poe, who does his best to reassure her it's okay. According to Burnett, the script has so far teased a potential romance between Rey and Poe, with her gently turning down his advances as it's not the right time. Now in the aftermath of the battle, she knows she must continue alone. Poe refuses to let her go alone, even at her insistence that the Resistance needs him, so Rey tries to use a mind trick on him. Poe resists. "You'll never leave this place and go back to the Resistance," Rey keeps repeating, getting closer and closer until she can touch his face, until she can kiss him. At this, Poe will relent and Rey's mind trick works. Poe takes the Millennium Falcon and returns to the Resistance with Chewie in BB-8, while Rey takes the Knife 9 to follow the star chart pulled from her mind. As Kylo Ren leaves Remnicor, Hux contacts him to inform him that the Resistance slipped past the blockade and tried sending a message out to the galaxy. "Do you really not know who stopped them?" Ren asks him, implying that he was the one who stopped him, the beacon. Hux believes they must respond with a show of strength and wants Ren to show the galaxy the new power he was acquired, saying his absence has emboldened their enemies, but Ren cuts the transmission and heads for Mortis. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe.
Do it.
And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.